Magic in anime. Something that's been around for absolutely forever in any fantasy-themed show, game, or series, incorporating magic into a story, while seemingly simple, can be incredibly difficult to pull off. Not only do you have to overcome the obstacle that is delivering that system in a way that hasn't already become stale or oversaturated, but there's also the additional potential aspect of creating a magic system unique to the world you're trying to write, and doing so in a way that it not only makes sense and fits into the world, but is also executed in a way that isn't downright cheesy and embarrassing to experience. Yet, when done well, magic can easily become one of the best plot devices in writing, carrying the world you're building to greater heights than what would have previously been possible had it not been present, making magic, ironically enough, a magical element to incorporate into a story. Such is the case for the story of today, where in a fantasy world not unlike many those of us with a knack for magic-oriented shows have already seen, a fire has been lit. Magic is now not just a means to an end. It is not only seen as a tool of war, nor is it a special ability available only to those with hereditary genetics and latent talent. It's a conduit, bound to those who pursue its mystic wonders as a means of probing the soul within them. It's a relic, used to pursue the ancient history of their ancestors. It's a mold, capable of being reformed in the user's image. The very foundation rests within these very few words, those words capable of drawing on the power necessary to begin their journey. This is magic done right. Akashic Records of Bastard Magic Instructor is a magic fantasy anime that has graced our presence ever since April of 2017 and follows the story of Glenn Radars, a former Special Forces mage turned shut-in who, at the discretion of his adoptive mother and one of the most powerful mages in the world, Celica Arfonia, is forced to take a temporary job as a substitute teacher at Alzano Imperial Magic Academy, which is widely known as one of the most prestigious magic academies in the world. Being the lazy buffoon he is, Glenn ends up running late for his first day and in pure comedic fashion bumps into, or rather gets knocked out of the sky by, two students of the Magic Academy, the two students in question being Sistine Febel and Rumia Tingel. What seems like an insignificant encounter ends up being much more, as Sistine and Rumia come to find out that their severely late teacher ends up being the same person Sistine blasted into the sky and into a public fountain, Glenn Radars. Thus, our journey begins with a teacher with absolutely no drive to work, a stubborn and uptight white cat, and a kind, gentle student whose identity is more than meets the eye, all connected by the one force that drives all their aspirations and regrets: magic. Seems cool, right? Well, there's more. There's a lot more to Glenn than initially meets the eye, despite first impressions given to the viewer very early on. A very strong part of him hates magic, seeing it only as a tool for killing that humanity further developed to make killing more efficient. Yet, there's also that small part of him tucked away in his soul that loves the wonder and beauty of the ethereal element which has driven his passion and his life for the 17 years he's been alive, which is a very special thing considering this shard of his soul happens to be reawakened by Rumia, who seems to show this exact same childish admiration for the beauties of magic. And well, this is where we come to find out that Glenn is not only enamored with the nature of magic, but is also damn good at his job. The magic present in Akashic Records comes in a few different forms, but most of which are activated via a vocal chant section into a number of phrases. For those with a higher affinity for mana manipulation, this chant can be shortened. However, modifying that chant in any way creates variables in how the target spell will be modified. That is to say, it won't function how it was originally depicted. This is important because there's supposed to be random outcomes, which is completely shattered by Glenn's own expertise of how to manipulate these spells by modifying the chant in a very specific way. Needless to say, this is single-handedly the most badass moment in the entire show, flooring his entire class's preconceived notion of how magic works and demonstrating that although he's super lazy, Glenn is indeed a magic prodigy with several years of experience under his belt, as well as a deep understanding of how the biggest tool in his arsenal functions inside and out. Story-wise, well, it could have been better. I didn't get enough Sistine scream time to be satisfied. If we're being perfectly honest, I'm not gonna sit here for forever trying to spin to you how the story of this show is an absolute masterpiece. I'm not gonna lie and say I don't occasionally rewatch the show just so I can admire how beautiful Celica is. Oh my god! Sorry, I mean, just fuck, she's hot. Reason being, well, the adaptation for this series, being only one short 12-episode season that aired 7 years ago, felt like purely build-up for what was to come for the journey ahead, serving more as a catalyst to establish the characters that would partake in this journey while focusing more on the fundamental mechanics of the world it's set in. Not to mention, I'm saying this as someone who absolutely loves this show. It's not that I hate the delivery, the animation, sound design, comedy, or the establishment of the series' overarching antagonist, the researchers sages of divine wisdom who are obsessed with acquiring the Akashic records, life records of everyone that's ever lived, I think, don't quote me on that one, for their own purposes. In fact, it's the complete opposite. I loved every second of this show. Well, maybe except the episode when this dipshit appeared, but that's besides the point. All in all, if you like magic, if you're into corny romances, then no one's sure if that's actually what's going on, if you like seeing a dude call a punch magical because he kicked a motherfucker in the face, I highly recommend you give this one a shot. And if this is one that you dabbled into but never finished, give it another shot. Even in 2024, this is one that doesn't fail to impress. Just be careful you don't get hit with an extinction ray. Sorry I was late with this one, work got a little busier than I was hoping for, but I won't be going anywhere for the foreseeable future. Might also see some gacha and other anime-themed games more often, because they're still anime and I like games.